The Philadelphia Eagles choke away a 14-point fourth quarter lead to the Broncos to suffer their first loss of the regular season. And while we did see some improvements in this game, overall, the Birds were the ones that shot themselves in the foot. And honestly, one of their biggest issues that has been going way under the radar was exposed yet again. So we'll talk about that. And did the Birds get screwed by the referees at the end of the game? All that and more coming up here on A to Z Philly, but welcome into the show. I'm RB, and for the first time, we are not celebrating an Eagles victory. No, we are discussing and reacting to a very, very tough loss here in week 5 of the season. Now, first, I want to give credit to the Denver Broncos. They had absolutely no life source in the first half. What do? They just keep chipping away little by little, staying in it. And what do you know? Fourth quarter comes around, they have 3 points, and all of a sudden, they're going for a 2-point conversion, and they're leading the football game. Why? Because they just kept at it. They were consistent with what they did. Eagles go down, and after last week, we saw them starting to give up that Bucs lead that they had, and we said, man, thankfully they got away with this, right? They won the game. Well, not so much this week, and I think we got to direct it back to the offense. Now, I know a lot of people are going to look at the defense, right? Wow, look at how they had these gaping holes in the fourth quarter and how they couldn't tackle, and the cornerback, tight press coverage in the first half was non-existent in the second half. I'll be honest, man, I can't really blame the defense that much in this game again. Maybe I sound like a Vic Fangio homer, but going up against his former team, Vic Fangio and his defense held them to 3 points in the first half. They did everything that they needed to do. The Broncos are a top 10 offensive team in terms of yardage, and the Eagles shut them down. They shut them down. Simple as that. But what happened? What was the change from the first half to the second half? People may not agree with me, but this man right here, Kevin Patullo, I told you last week he was becoming an issue, and he was an issue again. The Eagles in one half of football look like the greatest offense in the league, and then they go and absolutely turn into ghosts. Why does that happen? Eagles offense in the fourth quarter, 3 drives total, 16 plays, and 49 yards, 0 points. They came out of halftime, they scored a tutty, and they were nowhere to be seen yet again. Eagles offense in the first half versus the Rams, 5 drives, 29 yards. Eagles offense in the second half versus the Bucs, 8 drives, 23 yards. Eagles offense in the second half today against the Broncos after the opening touchdown, 5 drives and 48 yards. This team and this offense are way too inconsistent. And you know what? Not that I'm happy with a loss or anything like that, but it almost felt like the Eagles kept getting away with these wins, right? They block a miraculous field goal for the second time against the Rams. And last week, they just hold on by the skin of their teeth to win that game. This felt like a gut check. This felt like a reality check because the Eagles needed a game to show them and remind them that you can't keep getting away with this against every team. And again, credit to the Broncos. They have been in every game this year. Matter of fact, they said they hadn't trailed for 1 second in the fourth quarter of a game until today because both of their losses had come on the last play of the game. So they're a tough, resilient team. They don't do a lot. They don't have a lot of special offensive talent. Defensively, they absolutely do, and those boys were getting into the backfield. But the Eagles offense came out, and they listened to the noise all week, and I hate how these coaches try to adapt to what's going on the radio and in the media. Just play your game. Is everybody happy? Oh, we got A.J. Brown the ball today. We got DeVonta the ball. Well, guess what? They lost. So are we happy now that AJ and DeVonta got the ball so much? Listen, man, Eagles second half drives after Saquon's touchdown, 5 plays, 23 yards and a punt, 3 plays, negative 16 yards and a punt, 3 plays, negative 6 yards punt, 3 plays, 2 yards punt, 14 plays that resulted in 3 net yards gain. That just can't happen. And what did the Eagles do? They got way too reliant on the passing game in the second half. Now, total, right? The Philadelphia Eagles threw the ball how many times? 38. And they ran the ball 11 times. So this felt very like 2021-ish for the Eagles, 2020. Like, they got so over-reliant on passing the ball because everybody wants them to pass the ball because they talk about Jalen in this. And instead of just going out and playing efficient football, everybody's got to whine about the passing game. So what do? They just pass. And in the second half, the lack of a running game, first off, consistent play calling for the run game, but also the fact that they have no creativity at all absolutely screw this team. Go back to last year. What did the Eagles do? They ran the clock out. They ran it out with 8-9 minutes left in the game. They can't do that now. Saquon Barkley, 6 carries, 30 yards. Yeah, I'm going to say it. The run game is a very big concern right now. And as much as they were passing, as beautiful as it looked in the first half, the Eagles' lack of a run game is really hurting them late in games. It's really becoming an issue. And whether that is because the offensive line has been bad and banged up, Landon Dickerson goes out in this game, or whether it's because Saquon's not hitting the right holes, which I don't really think so. He doesn't look washed to me. He caught a big pass out of the backfield for a 47-yard touchdown. He looked fine to me. But I think running it up the gut every single play is not doing anybody anything good, and it's not helping, and they have to get creative with the run game. Honestly, it's so freaking predictable, and it's just annoying. And when I look at this Philadelphia Eagles team, I mean, they were going out, 11-second drives in the second half. Like, they were not taking any time off the clock, and I think that resulted in the defense getting very tired. At halftime of this game, Jalen Hurts, 13 for 19, 138 yards, a touchdown, and a 107 quarterback rating. And A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith had 8 catches combined for 110 yards. Smitty got over 100 yards. Look, I predicted it. I said this was going to be the Smitty game. Even A.J. Brown going up against Pat Surtain. We know what they can do. Eagles in the first half take a couple deep, tests down the field. On a 3rd and 17, they hit Smitty for 52, and then they get a PI on Surtain, and it's an easy touchdown. We know that. They should have been doing that all season, but they have to play complementary football. They have to find a way to balance out this offense, and they're getting nothing on the ground. I thought this would be a game where Jalen Hurts would really deceive the defense and maybe pull down a couple and run, maybe a couple design runs. None of that. They went away from the pre-snap motion in the second half. They were going up-tempo in the first half. They went away from that. Everything that was clicking, everything that was fooling this really, really good Denver defense, they went away from. The offense stalled again. And what really pisses me off is the Eagles get the ball back at the end of the game, and it looked like they had never even been in a 2-minute drill. They were lucky to get the ball back as it was, and, they just were not prepared for anything. Jalen Hurts is sitting back there 1,000,000 seconds to throw most of this game. I thought the O-line actually played better, which is why it is very confusing that they can't run the freaking ball. But I just didn't like the execution. And speaking of execution, at the end of the game, you want to talk about lack of execution. Well, how about the referees, right? The Philadelphia Eagles got screwed by the referees today. And I'm not saying that is the main reason that they lost this game, but one of these officials has to be a family member of Sean Payton or somebody in the Broncos organization, because in the fourth quarter, they had an intentional grounding. By the way, the second one that was picked up after because of, replay assist, but you tell me, was anybody in the area? Bo Nix ended up throwing this ball for 4 or 5 yards, and he was about to go down. So they pick up that intentional grounding flag. And then with essentially the game on the line, 3rd and 2, Andrew Makuba comes up in the open space. He makes an incredible tackle, and Zach Bowen comes in late, hits RJ Harvey. They throw a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty, which grants the Broncos a first down and essentially lets them run off almost all of the clock. And then you have about 5.5 minutes left in this game. It's a 4th and 4 right near the 50. Eagles trying to move the ball and, get back in this game and get the lead. And what happens? Well, they call an illegal shift on Saquon Barkley, I guess because there was a receiver moving at the line of scrimmage, trying to figure out his positioning. Saquon motions out of the backfield, comes back in. They call an illegal shift. Well, Jalen Hurts had converted a 30-yard bomb to DeVonta. That would have put the Eagles right in prime position to take the lead. So they call that back as well. With time running out, the Eagles launch it to Dallas Goedert, about a 30, 40-yard pass. And he is absolutely harassed here. He's grabbed all over. And it's an incomplete pass. And they do not throw the flag for pass interference. So that would have put the Eagles right on the 5-yard line. Prime position to win the game. No, the refs were not the main reason the Eagles lost, but they were up here in one of the worst games that I've seen by the officiating. I'm guessing they missed about 5 calls in this game. A couple of them were so monumental. Last thing I'll say is the Eagles had another big opportunity to win this game. You had a couple plays where guys were miscommunicating on routes, right? A couple, just balls thrown way up into the air, and seemed like the receivers were trying for like 8 to 10 seconds to get separation, but Jalen Hurts had A.J. Brown deep here. As you can see, his defender is in the dust, and A.J. Brown had a wide open touchdown. At the time of this, it was near the end of the third quarter. The Eagles were actually up by 14 points. This would have made it a 3-score game, and this absolutely ices the game, whether it was a miscommunication on Jalen's end or AJ just stopped running, whatever it is. This was the play that had to be made. This play finishes the game. They catch this, it's a wide open touchdown, game over. We are not talking about any of this right now. You have to convert the big plays. Overall, the Denver defense did a really good job of getting to Jalen. I thought they made a lot of adjustments in the second half. They had 6 sacks. A couple of those were just Jalen not getting back to the line of scrimmage. But Nick Bonito, the guy that we talked about coming into this game, one of the more underrated edge rushers, 2.5 sacks. I mean, he was incredible. And, you know, even A.J. Brown got his against Pat Surtain, but Surtain tightened up in this game. 5 catches for AJ, 8 for DeVonta with 114. Now we see what works, right? We see that we can throw the ball. We see that we can throw it downfield. Jalen Hurts can pinpoint it. So that shouldn't be an issue moving forward. But in my opinion, the much more glaring issue is the fact that the Eagles still cannot run the football. And maybe that's one of the Eagles' kryptonites, time of possession. Here it is. You know, they lost it 34-25 today. I'll wrap it up by saying the Eagles defense has to be tighter as well. I mean, they've given up 100 yards on the ground every single game. J.K. Dobbins had nothing in the first half. Then he got going, and, you know, just allowing them to wear down your defense will not help anybody out either. But at the end of the day, Eagles get a reality check, and now they can see, right? Like, they're not invincible. They have things to work on, and they just can't keep getting away with it. So hopefully they learn whatever they did today and take it in with them on this coming week. I mean, you play in 4 days, so you got to forget about this and get back to it on Thursday. We'll see what happens. Give me your thoughts, your main takeaways down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.